How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today's video, it's completely unscripted, and I tell you this with a heavy heart because it involves a red flag order and a 21-year-old man named Duncan Lemp, who was murdered by Montgomery County Police Department's tactical unit. Now, according to the police, they were serving a high-risk warrant on Friday the 13th at 4:30 in the morning on Duncan's house. And according to them, they were confronted by him, and one of the officers opened fire, killing Duncan and injuring his pregnant girlfriend. But according to the family's lawyer and eyewitnesses, it tells a completely different story. Now, let me paint a picture for you. He lived with his 19-year-old brother, his girlfriend, and his mom and dad. No one in the house had a criminal record. And as far as my research can find, the only thing he's ever been convicted of is a speeding ticket. Now, I'm going to read you a statement from Renee Sandler, the family's attorney. She gave the statement to the Associated Press. I'm going to start from the beginning. A Maryland man who was shot and killed by a police officer was asleep in his bedroom when police opened fire from outside of his house, an attorney for the 20-year-old man's family said Friday. The man's girlfriend was also wounded. The Montgomery County Police Department said in a news release Friday that Duncan Lemp confronted police and was shot by one of the officers early Thursday. The attorney for Lemp's family said an eyewitness gave a completely contrary account to the shooting. She said police could have absolutely no justification for shooting Lemp based on what she'd heard about the circumstances. The facts that I understand from the eyewitness are incredibly concerning, she said to the Associated Press. The warrant that the police obtained to search the Potomac home Lemp shared with his parents, 19-year-old brother, doesn't mention any imminent threat or law enforcement or the public. Lemp's relatives said in a statement released Friday by their lawyer, nobody in the house that morning had a criminal record. The statement adds, any attempt by police to shift responsibility onto Duncan or his family, who were sleeping when police fired shots into their home, is not supported by the facts, the statement says. A police department spokesman didn't immediately respond to the statements by the family or the lawyer. The department's news release on Friday says tactical unit members were serving a high-risk, red flag, search warrant around 4:30 a.m. when one of the unit's officers fatally shot Lemp. Police detectives recovered 3 rifles and 2 handguns from the home. Lemp was prohibited from possessing firearms, police said. Despite the fact that the man had no criminal background and he was of age to own a handgun, which is 21 in the United States. And the only thing I can see that the man did, he owned 30 round magazines, which in the state of Maryland, they unconstitutionally passed laws that only allow you to have 10 round magazines. Detectives were following up on a complaint from the public that Lemp, prohibited, was in possession of firearms. The release says without elaborating. It's awful weird they want to elaborate on why he can't own firearms. Sandler said the family believes police officers fired gunshots, not a flashbang or other projectiles, from outside the home, including through Lemp's bedroom window while he and his girlfriend were sleeping. Nobody in the home heard any warnings or commands by the police officers, which, no-knock warrants are a thing. They're pretty dangerous, but they're a thing. There is no warrant or other justification that would ever allow for that unless there is an imminent threat, which there was not, Sandler said. The police department's news release says the facts and circumstances of the encounter are still under investigation. Prosecutors from the neighboring Howard County will review the evidence at the conclusion of the investigation. An established agreement between Montgomery County State Attorney's Office and Howard County State Attorney's Office stipulates that when an officer-involved shooting involves injury or death occurs in one county, the other state's attorney office will review the event, police said. Something about race. Doesn't really matter. It goes on to say Lemp worked as a software developer and was trying to raise money for a startup company, according to friends and co-workers. He was a talented, smart, and super nice guy. Didn't deserve to get shot, said Samuel Reed, whose Canadian software company employed Lemp as an independent contractor. On social media accounts that Fred said belonged to him, Lemp's username was Young Quant. On an internet forum called My Militia, someone who identified himself as Duncan Lemp of Potomac and posted under username Young Quant said he was an active 3%er and was looking for local members and recruits. This is an apparent reference to the 3%ers of a wing of the militia movement. The group's logo, the Roman numerals 3, became popular with anti-government extremists, according to the Anti-Defamation League, which we know we can completely believe anything they say. You know, the 3%ers refers to the 3% of Americans who fought the Revolutionary War. And yes, they were anti-government, anti-tyrannical government, not anti-free government. Those 3%ers fought to establish this nation, which is barely recognizable anymore. On his Instagram account, Lemp recently posted a photograph that depicts two people holding up rifles and included the term boogaloo, slang used by militia members and other extremists. I've used it, so I guess I'm an extremist, to describe the future civil war in the U.S. More of a revolutionary war. Friends say that they never heard Lemp espouse any anti-government rhetoric. Blah. Sandler said Lemp was not a part of any anti-government or militia group. He was a pro-American who wholeheartedly supported the protection of the Constitution, he said. Which, I'm sure many of you wholeheartedly support the Constitution. And according to these anti-gun nuts, like the Anti-Defamation League and people like them, you, as a freedom-loving American, are an extremist because you want your God-given rights. Your right to assemble, your right to free speech, your right to free press, your right to own a firearm. If you have those views, you, my friend, are an extremist. Now, I'm sure more is going to come out about this story, and when it does, especially the body cam footage, if it is released to the public, I will review it, and if I'm wrong, I will totally eat my words. But according to eyewitnesses and the family's lawyer, this is looking really, really shady. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you think this shooting was justified because the 21-year-old had 30-round magazines? Or do you think this is another tyrannical government overreach by gun grabbers in these blue states? Let me know what you think. I'll see you guys in the next one.